One of the things that I look forward to in a book, in a story particularly, is how the story is told rather than what the story is. And last year's Booker Prize winner Shuggie Bain by Douglas Stuart definitely cuts the mark exceedingly well. Hello everyone, my name is Neeraj Kumar Solanki and welcome to the book review of Shuggie Bain. Shuggie Bain is one of the books that is scathingly and brutally honest. I think I am going to use those words quite a lot in this review. When it comes down to language, the vocabulary, and even the accent, everything about the book is marvelously done. Although it is a bit of a challenging read, to be honest. I mean, if you're not comfortable with the vocabulary, there are words like wee boy or ween, or when they say things like the day where they clearly meant today, this could be a little alienating. And for a person who is not used to reading a complicated narrative, you could feel a little lost. Although I must maintain that it is a simple story. I'm not going to summarize the book, but I do believe in teasing the plot a little bit. The book is set in the 1980s Glasgow, a place that I would never ever want to visit, let alone live in. And there are many reasons for saying this. There is depression, cold, hunger, poverty. It's a place full of poor and hungry people. There seems to be only one industry, which is the coal industry, and that too is dying. The Glasgow of the 1980s sounds like an abandoned town on the very precipice of death. It is very gloomy to read about it. The same goes for the characters. I would not want to be any of these characters. They are such depressing people surrounded by despair and hopelessness. There is really no escape. And that really is the beauty of the book. Very rarely a book would make you stop in your tracks and really thank your stars or your policymakers to have escaped the fate of Shuggie and his family. His mother, Shuggie's mother, Agnes, is a real central character of the book, and man, does she have problems. Alcoholism is definitely the number one problem, but she has many other problems to cope with. She is struggling to put together some decent life for her and for her three children, Leek, Catherine, and Hugh, who, by the way, is actually the titular character. He goes by the name Shuggie in the book, but the circumstances are completely stacked against her. And here I was reminded of the great heroine of English literature, Scarlett O'Hara from Gone with the Wind. Scarlett's station in life is also miserable, if you remember, and she has not many options to feed her family. And she vows to never go hungry, and she can stoop to any level to survive. Well, if I contrast Scarlett's character with that of Agnes, I definitely think that Agnes lacks Scarlett's resilience, at least in my mind. And although this comparison may seem a bit unfair, what struck me was how hopeless Agnes's condition was. She is trapped, and she's trapped for good. To be very honest, there was a point in the book where I felt really very angry with Agnes. Why could she simply not get up and find a job to support her family, which she does, by the way, to be fair to her, but her conditions are really hopeless. You need to read the book to understand why Agnes cannot escape. Just to give you an example, the men in the book only want to use her, and the women only have utter disdain for Agnes. Why? Because Agnes is so beautiful, and she uses her outward appearance to get a lot of things done for her and basically face the world, as author puts it. But her condition remains miserable. It is a devastatingly sad read, and it would evoke a lot of emotions of despair. But surprisingly, that itself is the best thing about the book. The author, Douglas Stuart, has done an amazing job of creating such believable characters. All the characters are well-rounded, and even their internal monologue, although not mentioned explicitly, really gets to you while reading. It must have taken an immense courage for the author to literally peel the surface of his skin and lay bare his soul. I would remember Shuggie Bain for its brutal honesty. And there were places where I felt really short of crying. That's the only negative thing that comes to my mind as far as the book is concerned. The author could have added a little more emotions to accompany the brutality of the things that are happening to Shuggie. Surprisingly, Shuggie remains the most hopeful character. A line that would wonderfully and completely capture Shuggie's character is, "What good is a soft boy in a hard world. Shuggie is soft. He is described as posh, and he is posh. He speaks in a certain way, which is the way taught to him by his mother. None of the Glaswegian accents or slang for him. He uses proper English and grammar, and of course, he is ridiculed and bullied for it. Not only this, he is an effeminate guy who likes to dance and dress, and possibly gay. So, in a way, both Agnes and Shuggie are a complete misfit in the environment they are born in. You have Agnes's beauty and Shuggie's poshness. I don't know whether that is even a word. The very things that make their life hopeless. I recall this incident from the book where his elder brother, Leek, is teaching Shuggie how not to walk like a poofter, which is a term they use very often in the book. So Lee goes on to say that how Shuggie should walk with your chest out and make some room for your penis. I mean, this must have been really, really painful for boy of Shuggie's age. Now, if I have to really answer the question what the book is all about, the book is basically about Shuggie and his relationship with his mother. Shuggie's relationship with his mother will really break you into pieces. You have to read the book to understand the kind of love only a boy like Shuggie could have for his mother without getting all Oedipus about it. Those descriptions of their relationship are really, really painful to read, and that is how would I remember this book. Like I mentioned earlier, I would not want to be any of the characters, but that does not mean the characters themselves are loathsome. It is just that their situation is so precarious and so sad that one could feel only sympathy for these characters. So that was my take on last year's Booker Prize winner Shuggie Bain. Do let me know if you have read this particular book, whether my review did any justice to the book, and if you have not read the book, whether this review will help you in picking up the book. Happy reading!